Pythagorean's theorem and example calculation. Pythagorean theorem is a mathematical formula that relates one side of a right triangle to the other two sides. The formula of Pythagorean's theorem is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. Or similarly, c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. A, B, and C are sides of a triangle. In this example, A is the shortest side, which we have assigned a value of 2 meters. B is the middle sized size, which we have assigned 3 meters. And our goal is to find the length of the hypotenuse, or side C. The angle between side A and side B is 90 degrees. Because the angle between side A and side B is 90 degrees, we call this a right triangle. Our goal here is to find the length of side C given the lengths of side A and B. Pythagorean's theorem is a formula that relates one side of a right triangle to the other two sides. Let's take a look at an example calculation. We want to find the length of side C given A and B. The length of A is 2 meters. So I'm going to substitute that in between the parentheses for A, and then that parentheses is squared. I'm going to do the same thing with B. The side B is 3 meters, so I have a parentheses, and inside the parentheses, I am going to put 3 meters. And the square is outside the parentheses. So our equation is going to read c squared is equal to parentheses 2 meters, close parentheses squared, plus open parentheses 3 meters, close parentheses squared. So let's start squaring the objects. We have 2 and we square it, and that's going to give us 4. A meter squared is just meters squared, or square meters. 3 squared is 9, and if you take meter and square it, you get square meters, or m squared. Now, how did I know that 2 squared is 4 and 3 squared is 9? Well, you go to your Google calculator, and you put in your 2, hit the x to the y, and hit square. That's 2 squared, hit equal, and you get 4. Similarly, you put your 3, the x to the y, you get that little exponent box there, put the square in it, so you get 3 squared, hit equal, and that's 9. That's how we know that 2 squared is 4 and 3 squared is 9. Now, because meters squared and meters squared are the same, the units are the same, we can carry the units down and put parentheses in the front where we take the 4 and add it to the 9. All I did was pull the meter squared out because they have the same units, and I just carried the 4 down, I carried the plus down, and I carried the 9 down. Now I just need to add. 9 plus 4 is 13, and I carry the meter squared down. It's only because both of these on either side of the plus sign have the exact same units, m squared, that I can add the numbers before them. So I'm just going to carry my c squared down on the left-hand side. The next thing we need to do is take the square root. So we need to take the square root of both sides of the equation. The square root of c squared is just c, and the square root of meter squared is just meters. So now we need to take the square root of 13. So I'm going to move my answer up here. I have c equals, well, what's the square root of 13? Well, we go back to our Google calculator, we hit the square root symbol, and then we type in 13 and hit equals, and we get 3.6 with a bunch of numbers. Let's go take a look. We have 13, which is 2 numbers. Therefore, we only want 2 numbers, in our answer. So we're just going to take the 3.6. So our answer of the square root of 13 is 3.6. So the length of C is 3.6. Now the last thing we want to do is make sure that this answer makes sense. We know the shortest length is 2 meters, the middle length is 3 meters, and this hypotenuse is just slightly longer than our longest side of B. So it's logical that the C could be 3.6 meters, which is just slightly longer than 3 meters. So I'll accept the answer, and I'll put a box around it, and that is my answer. So this is an example of a mathematical solution where we're given sides A and B, and we need to solve for side C. We're going to use Pythagorean's theorem because we have a right triangle. Pythagorean's theorem is a mathematical formula, namely c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared, that relates one side of a right triangle to the other two sides.